Have you ever been going down the highway and seen one of these gigantic wheat cones and wondered why it's there, what it is, and maybe even what it's for? Perhaps you saw the pile while it was yet uncovered and understand that it was some sort of grain pile. Throughout the landscape are these fortresses of grain, terminals that hold millions of bushels of wheat. A bushel is a measurement of the volume of a bushel basket and not a weight, but for wheat it is normally 60 pounds to the bushel. Oftentimes, these fortresses of agriculture have mountains of grain in front of them that we call simply ground piles. Both conical and pyramidal in shape, these ground piles are set on an asphalt pad and covered with vented tarps and have air force through them using large fans all throughout the winter to prevent spoilage and insect damage to the wheat. They are primarily used as overflow storage for wheat that is not yet headed to market. When the price of wheat is low, farmers have places like the Northwest grain growers store and sell the wheat for them until they decide to sell. They also allow you to sell it before you harvest and lock in future prices, but that is a different video entirely. Here you can see the front end loader with an oversized bucket that holds 320 bushels or nearly 9 metric tons. That is 19,000 pounds of wheat he is scooping up and depositing from the ground pile into a hopper that then drops it onto a conveyor belt that weaves its way inside to the pit where trucks normally unload. The wheat is then lifted up one bucket at a time to the top of the leg. Once to the top of the leg, the wheat is then diverted to this large bin that holds over 1 million bushels. A bin like this, which is made of steel, is a common way grain is stored before transport on the river. The ground pile is also over 1 million bushels, or 145,450 metric tons. It is not uncommon for ground piles to be double that, and closer to 300,000 metric tons of wheat in one pile. If you look here at the ground piles, you will see that there is an empty pad where there is no need for the excess overflow storage from Garfield County's Pomeroy grain growers this year. Across the river, there is also another million bushel or more grain storage pile that is set on the Snake River to allow for easy transport on barges. Everything comes to the river on a truck and leaves either on a grain train or a barge. It then goes down the river using the locks on the Snake River until it makes it to the Columbia River, where it then journeys to Portland and to beyond, to international markets along the Pacific Ocean. The U.S. produces most of its grain in the mid and southwest, where corn and beans are king. Wheat is also grown there when the price of wheat justifies planting it. They can choose when and how much wheat they plant, depending on the market for it. My dad said if there's a wheat shortage, then farmers will grow wheat. Here we focus primarily on high-quality wheat, because it is what grows best here in our climate zone. In the Palouse region of the Pacific Northwest, we have a different climate altogether from Seattle and the areas near the coast. As soon as you leave the city behind, you are greeted by large fields upon some of the steepest farmed land in North America. There are no rainforests here, but there are a lot of desert-like environments. The Palouse of Washington and Idaho is very arid and dry. Wet winters and dry summers mean that we grow mainly wheat and some grow grass. Unless that is you can manage to buy the expensive water rights to irrigate your moisture-needy crops such as onions and potatoes. In many cases, fruit, such as apples, is grown in this region of Washington state. Just like New York, we're famous for our apples. The closest town of Walla Walla is famous for its grapes and expensive wine and boasts a historic downtown that was originally built on wheat money. We dryland wheat farmers who do not have the luxury of deciding when it rains specialize in growing high-quality wheat. Dryland soft wheat from the Pacific Northwest, and more specifically the Palouse region, is highly desirable in foreign markets, and most of our wheat is exported on barges to giant container ships destined for the Black Sea region and Southeast Asia. Once our white wheat reaches foreign shores, it is primarily used to make wafers, biscuits, cookies, pastries, pretzels, flatbreads, and cakes. Due to its low gluten content, it is not usually used in regular leavened breads. Hard red wheat is also grown here, and it is ideal for milling into breads and has a high protein content. Much of the hard red wheat is destined to local elevators and then to local mills to be made into flour for artisan breads. This wheat being cut here is going to the elevator behind it to be stored until a mill from Spokane, Washington comes with their trucks nearly 100 miles and takes the hard red wheat to their mill. Hard red wheat is not just harder, but it is harder to grow than soft white wheat. HRW, as it is known, is worth about 50 cents more per bushel because it needs a stress period at a specific time in its life cycle to produce the desired amount of protein. These ground piles both contain a different type of wheat. One is a soft white wheat, while the other is a hard red wheat. With some years reaching 100 bushels to the acre, it is possible to make more money growing red wheat, though there is no guarantee. Not all farms have such on-site holding bins or elevators. Or if they do, they are derelict, out of use, and collecting dust. This particular site does not hold enough wheat to cover the farmer's entire contract to the mill, so the mill sends its truck in the dead of night to the elevator before the grain bins are full. This guarantees a seamless harvest with no stoppage due to waiting for trucks. Harvest is different all over the world, but it takes every farmer and every farm worker to do their job in order for us all to not go hungry. If you haven't yet today, thank a farmer, and have a good one.